Alright, what's going on, y'all? Today we are playing Elves. There were a lot of pretty cool elf tribal cards printed in Call Time that haven't really been good enough for regular standard, but now in Standard 22 we get to use them. Starting with Elvish Warmaster. It is a 2-mana 2/2. Whenever an other elf enters the battlefield under your control, you get to make a elf token. Only once each turn, but it's still quite a few bodies from a 2-drop. Skemfar Avenger. Whenever a another non-token elf you control dies, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Also works in Berserker Tribal, but we're playing elves here, not berserkers, so we don't worry about that. That's pretty good card advantage on a 2-drop. Usually they just remove this first, but it still helps out sometimes. Herald is a 3-mana 3/2 with Menace, and when it ETBs, you look at the top 5 cards and find an Elf, Warrior, or Tyvar. We're not running Tyvar or any non-elf warriors, so if we just find an elf, there's plenty of them. We don't miss very often. Usually this is a 3-mana 3/2 with Menace that finds another threat, which is pretty good. And Herald Unites the Elves is the top end that really makes the tribe pop. It is a saga. First chapter, you mill 3 cards, then you can put an elf or Tyvar from the graveyard onto the battlefield. So you get a body for it right when it comes down, which is pretty nice, unless you play it onto an empty graveyard and whiff in the top 3 cards, but we've got a lot of elves, so that doesn't happen too often. Chapter 2, you get a counter on each elf you control, and Chapter 3, whenever your elves attack this turn, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. This triggers for every single elf you control. Sometimes you control a lot, and you get to kill lots of creatures with that ability. Can come in pretty handy. And since we're making a lot of bodies, we have Toski, so we can draw cards when they deal combat damage to a player. Most of them don't hit especially hard, so having them draw cards is nice. Also, Toski is difficult to interact with, though does get hit by Soul Shatter, which is one of the best removal spells in this format at the moment, because it hits dragons and whatnot, and Toski, and other big things at instant speed, gets around indestructible, protection, and all that. Also running Flunk. This was Power Word Kill, but there are so many dragons and angel decks that Power Word Kill is really, really bad at the moment. Flunk can fill the spot of 2-mana instant speed removal much more effectively most of the time. Sometimes your opponent is stuck on lands and has a very full hand and Flunk doesn't work, but usually it does the job. And Bloodchief's Thirst has a 1-mana removal spell that sometimes can also hit big planeswalkers and stuff like that. For 1-drop elves, we've got Sentinel to ramp and the Turu Blightblade, which is not from Call Time, but is a 1-mana elf with Death Touch, which can come in handy, especially with one of the new cards, which is Shesra, Death's Whisper, which is a 4-mana 1/3, which is very bad rate, but when it enters the battlefield, target creature blocks this turn of Fable, which can combo with your 1-mana Death Touch creature to kill target creature your opponent controls that is able to block this turn. And then at your end step, if a creature died, you can pay 2 life to draw a card, which is a decent card advantage engine since Skemfar Avenger, Herald, and other Herald and Toski aren't quite enough. We really need to keep the cards coming, so we've got a couple more of those on top. And Ranger Class, just a very good green card from the new set. Makes a 2/2 when it comes down. Then for 2 mana you can level it up to put a counter whenever you attack. Then for 4 mana, doesn't come up too often with all our other card advantage in this deck, but then you can cast creatures from the top of your library, which can help in a pinch. In the mana base, we're running Snow for Faceless Haven, which is also an elf. You can get a counter on it with Herald Unites the Elves if you power it up on your upkeep, and draw a card with it when it dies from Skemfar Avenger, stuff like that. So being a shapeshifter is pretty nice, and just 1 layer of the Hydra, because it can be a little more versatile. You can just power it up for 2 to attack for 1 if that's really what you need, whereas Faceless Haven is always 3 mana, or you can power it up for more than that to attack for larger amounts if that is what the situation calls for. That is the deck. Let's go try it out. Yeah, we've got elves, we've got some lands, we've got our top end. Should be pretty good. Only complaint is that we're on the draw. And back on the Strixhaven map for some reason. This is Mono-White 2 spell. Alright, we get through one turn without them having 2 spells though. But Luminarch Aspirant's pretty strong. I think we can wait one turn to flunk it. Let's get some elves going. Or we can just cast Herald Unites turn 3. Unless they exile the Sentinel here. They exile the Death Toucher. Very aggressive. Maybe they also have something for the War Master. No? Alright. Okay, no need to block here. I think we can wait to have an elf in the graveyard before we go for Herald, just to be safe. I think here we want to flunk the Luminarch and get the Death Touch down. And we're not really attacking here. Do they run protective spells? Possibly. I don't really know what's in this mono-white deck at the moment, so we'll do this all at sorcery speed. We don't really want to trade the War Master, and of course the others just get eaten by the Code Spell Cleric, so we're just passing here. Okay. Well, I don't really want to just Soul Shatter away this Warhound, so I think we're just going to slam Herald here. Hope we hit something in the top 3. But then with 5 elves on board, as long as we're not in a terrible position, I think I'll take a War Master over the, what is it, Herald there. Just go super wide. And no need to attack. Once we get counters on all these, we'll be in a much better attacking position. Alright, they're going to exile the War Master, not the Herald Unites the Elves. I think that's probably a mistake. Chapter 2 and 3 of this are very powerful. Can also Soul Shatter to get rid of their Skyclave app. Yeah, we're way too wide for them to deal with, and next turn attacking just kills all their creatures. Good game. No turn 1 play, but otherwise we've got plenty going on here. Looks like our opponent's playing 2-color dragons. Go and get the War Master down. It gets the most value, assuming they don't Dragon's Fire or Frostbite it right here. Though, that would apply to any turn 2 play we could have made. And Herald's most mana efficient. Possibly should have waited for post-combat to maybe get 2 damage out of them. If they are planning to kill the War Master, they'll do it before this resolves. But if they decide they'd rather kill Herald, yeah, then we still get the token. Let's see, I think I want the Sentinel, since we're not guaranteed to draw more land, as tempting as the War Master is. Next turn, if we don't draw land, we can guaranteed have an okay turn with Sentinel Avenger. And if we do do draw land, we have a good turn anyway because we just herald. Okay, no removal this turn, no land. With the Sentinel we have mana to herald, unless they would like to kill it. But we have Avenger down, so if they kill it we get a card. Not too bad. Okay, and now I'm afraid of counter magic. Don't really want to run Herald into a counter spell. Let's go for this first. We might cast Ranger class as well. Flunk probably isn't going to do much here. Alright, let's go ahead and tap that for mana. It's going to die anyway. Flunk probably not much good, since our opponent still has a pretty full grip. So now we can Ranger class. And we're still very wide. If they don't run sweepers, I think we've got a pretty good chance here. If they do run exile-based sweepers, then we were never really going to win in the first place. Nothing. Okay. See, how much damage do we have on board here? That's 11. We Rangers class, we make it 12. We still don't kill them if they block with Haven or use a single removal spell. So attacking all in is probably not the play. We could Herald here, and that runs into a counter spell, but then we still attack for 9, which is pretty good. And we have another one. I think that's the play. Tap a 1/1. Resolves. Let's see, Herald gives us cards, War Master goes wider. I think Herald is fine here. A removal spell. Do they have a second one? Looks like it. Okay, I'm still not happy with their hand. Two lands into the bin. There's a land for us. We'll take those. Expressive Iteration, still looking for more cards. Then now we don't draw a million if they have a non-exile sweeper. Looks like they're exiling from their graveyard, so that'll be Draconic Intervention. Yep. But we have double War Master to follow up here. So they're going to have another one. We need one more Snowland to attack with our Haven. now that can die to flunk. Or actually just die to attacking with our 4 elves. Do we go for Toski here? Can't be countered. But if we play it pre-combat, there's a chance the Goldspan Dragon doesn't die if they remove a War Master. So we'll go to attacks. Play Herald post-combat is probably the play. Alright, so that Goldspan Dragon did absolutely nothing for them. They go to 1. Here's another Herald. Let's see, do they have a 3 cost? Yes, they do have Prismari Command, so getting the 1/3 does not save us. We'll get a Skempar Avenger for the card draw. We have enough tokens with the War Master. I think the only way we lose again is to another sweeper. And they do not have it. Good game. Should be alright. Not a very exciting hand, but we've got lands, early plays, and a late play. A bit of removal. Just don't have our nice turn 2 and 3 plays. There's one. That helps quite a bit. I don't think holding up flunk here is better than attacking for 1. It's entirely possible our opponent does nothing. And even if they do, is it going to be something we really need to flunk? Since they'll still have 5 cards in hand. To be fair, that is a pretty good one to flunk. And they have a 1-drop. Devour Intellect. Oof, they can take our Toski or our removal. They might take Herald. They take Herald. They probably run Soul Shatter for Toski, but it's more mana efficient, so I'm just going to go for it now. And bet that they don't have it. Our intellect is pretty strong if you've got enough treasures for it. Opponent appears to be on full Jund. Okay. Toski survives a turn. Let's see. Do I flunk the Kalane so we can attack all? Well, I guess Tulane just bounces off the Despair Sentinel, and if they don't have treasures, she doesn't do much. Magda makes treasures, which makes their deck go. So I think what we want to do is kill Magda here. Both are legendary, so that doesn't matter. Should get to draw 2 here. Nice. Play 2 more 1-drops, which is good with Toski. I guess if they're going to kill something, it'll be Toski, it won't be an elf, so we might as well play the 2 1-drops. They might have Orcus, which can also take out Toski and quite a few of our elves, but they're at least 2 turns away from that. would be nice to find something that attacks for more than one. Like a Herald Unites the Elves here would be fantastic. I suspect they have another one and we're at 20, so I'm not going to block that. Could be just that they're setting up for a sweeper. Yep, they have another one. And another Magda, of course. Well, I think we're still going all in. Maybe we don't attack with the Sentinels here. The Blight Blades, of course, trade and draw cards. At this point, maybe the extra card is worth it. We do get 2 cards if they block the Sentinel, because one of these will go through and the Sentinel will die, triggering the Avenger. Okay, those are some pretty good draws. I think what we want to do is set up the War Master and thirst the Magda here. I think that was definitely worth throwing away the Sentinel. Also blocks several of our things, so I think we can go ahead and flunk it. Our opponent doesn't have an instant, which sucks for them. Let's play another War Master, get all the tokens going. Draw 5, opponent goes to 6. What a card, Toski, when you don't have... yeah. Soul Shattered immediately for Toski. He really takes over the game when you're going this wide. And combined with Skempar Avenger. So even if they do block, we still get cards. It's a nice time. Alright, no 1-drop, but otherwise pretty good. Opponent. Interesting. A white Foretell. Don't see that every day. Feeling pretty good with 2 Heralds and 4 lands, though. See if they've got another one. Alright, this is book. So let's see, we want to find flunk, huh? But they're a couple turns away from using the book. Either way, I don't think having Toski down can be a bad thing. Or we could just kill them before they get to 6 mana. Alright, Toski's gone. Alright, there's a flunk. Let's get these going, start going wide. Then we can get our heralds running once we develop a board. They give me the 4/4 token back, I'll take that. And now I for sure have a good hit in the graveyard for Herald, and I get to draw a card. If their main plan is to stall out with the book here, I don't think it's going to go very well for them. Let's just get Herald back and start holding up our flunk. We'll save the Elves because we get counters on them next turn. Just go in with the 4/4 here. Alright, that tells me they want to sweep the board. But we have an Avenger out. We'll draw cards for that. That means I'm not going to commit this War Master. No sweeping the board. Just trying to get mana for their book combo. Alright. Portable Hole is fine. Take out the Avenger. Alright. There's the board wipe. Okay. They stopped me from drawing 2 cards there. And stopped that from doing anything. Let's see, they still don't have... It takes 9 mana total to do this combo, so we're safe for 1 turn. So that means I can War Master and Herald here. I think I'll take a Herald, keep getting those cards. Professor dies to the attack. They're just trying to keep gaining life. Alright, book comes down. Get my counters. I get to kill their professor. And I get to... Let's see, how careful do I want to be? Do I hold up Flunk and Soul Shatter? Just either one should be enough. So we can go for Toski and draw here. And land. Go for one of these. Trigger our War Master. There we go. I have 2 instant speed spot removal spells. Feeling pretty good. Soul Shatter gets around a protection spell. Just in case they run a hexproof or something. And yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. We've got this much top end, that can't go badly, right? Just need to draw a 2 or 3 drop and we're super happy. If we get to 4 lands, we might be fine anyway. Well, if our opponent plays creatures, that might be helpful. Perfect. No, that's going to be a 2/2, and they still have 6 cards in hand, so that will not do. Might be able to get it next turn, though. Yep. Field Trip comes in tapped. I guess I could have waited for them to make their learn decision before killing their land. Shouldn't really have made any difference, but they might not have got environmental sciences if they didn't lose that land. Let's see, what are the odds we hit an elf here? Not too bad. And Toski without any attackers this turn feels kind of bad, so we'll go for Herald. Alright, we get one. And I'll take a War Master. Our opponent's on some sort of Sultai ramp. Emergent Sequence is a fairly questionable ramp card as it dies to creature removal. But there aren't that many choices in the current format. If I get a land off the top and can drop a Toski here, I'll be very happy. Not too bad. Hello? They might have Soul Shatter. Yeah. That's fine. They take 8. Verdict is rough. In that case, if we had another green source, this would feel better. But I guess Herald doesn't do much if we don't have any elves on board. Ranger class is more resilient to control-y stuff, so we'll go for that over the War Master. Never mind, they have Binding. That is a very good reason to play Sultai. We still get the 2/2 though. Know about the War Master, and now we can hold up Soul Shatter, which is not useless. And then if they kill the War Master, we can get it back with Herald. Just need to dodge more Shadow's Verdicts. If they go for a big scary Planeswalker or something, Soul Shatter's nice. Okay, they go for nothing. I attack for 4. Go away. Here we go. I did not see that Hall of the Storm Giants, actually. Should have thought about that, but that's fine. Bind the War Master, which means our Herald will hit something. That's a blocker, so I'm going to flunk it. There's another green source. I would prefer to hit a Herald here, but I think I'll take a War Master over an Avenger. One more land and I can activate it. Alright, another Shadow's Verdict. That's just unfortunate. Here's a 1/1. It's a 4-turn clock. Easy saw it coming. Both in top deck mode. That's 2 blockers. Not ideal for us. Okay, that's about as good of a draw as we could have, as it is a threat that finds us more elves. Also has Menace, so it gets around to the birds somewhat. And double removal, that's an ouch. Now they fetch Mascot Exhibition and we're probably done here. Yeah. Don't quite have the reach to go through that. Good game. Double Shadow's Verdict will do a real number on Elves. should be fine. Hopefully they have a 1-drop I can Blood Chief's Thirst. They do not. War Master is a nice draw, though I expect it will just die. In that case, Ranger's class is better because it has value even if they remove the 2/2. They're not holding on to Frostbite. Okay. I think I want to play Herald over activating Ranger's class here, but let's attack first. Most of the counter spells take double blue, so I'm not too afraid of this getting countered. If they remove it, we still get the card if we find one. We do not, unfortunate. Interesting that they don't care about shocking our creatures. If they're trying to ramp into a dragon here, we have the Soul Shatter. We are prepared. Maybe they're just really trying to hit land and not finding any. That's what throwing away 2 Galazeths and going for an iteration here tells me. There's one. I would also like a land here so I can War Master into Avenger. If I don't find one, I'll probably activate Ranger's class. Okay. Or we could hold up Soul Shatter, but I don't think 5 damage is enough of a threat. Or we could just go for the War Master anyway, and hope they don't run sweepers. But if we get Ranger's class going, we get to a point where we can attack into dragons regardless. I think we'll go for that. Seems like they have Frostbite, so whatever we put the counter on here is just going to die. No. Interesting. Just on full control? Not sure what they have there for 1. Yep, there's a gold span. If that's a Saw It coming, then Soul Shatter doesn't work, but if they counter that and don't have Epiphany here, I think we're just winning. There's the Frostbite. Okay. Double Frostbite. Okay. They didn't have 3 snow permanents. These 2 are both non-snow lands, so they don't actually get to kill our 3/3. Now they do if they have yet another one. Now we find our land, we can War Master into Avenger. And hope they don't just Epiphany us to death. This might be a Saw It coming, and they used that one because it's more mana efficient. No, it is Epiphany. But with no dragons, that doesn't win them the game. That's somewhat trouble, but if we make this a 5/5, they trade. So I think that's what we do. Make them block with the birds. Don't think it's worth Blood Chief's thirsting the bird. Guess Menace is pretty good here. And it gives us a reach blocker, which can save us if they do have more epiphanies. Possible I should have saved the Soul Shatter for an Imrith as opposed to using it with the Goldspan before. But I don't think we had the mana to Bloodchief's Thirst it. And I was concerned about counter magic. Okay, iteration means no epiphany this turn. Again, they're not killing Herald. Very strange. They just make a card and mana negative play. Guess they're trying to win next turn. Let's see, if we thirst their bird, then they are dead. If they have removal, they save themselves 4. Crush the weak. So now they have to chump with their Imrith. Okay. If that's how you want to do it, boss. Don't think we need to activate this. Let's get another threat down, just in case they do have ways to remove a 6/6. Alright, they have 1 epiphany. I don't think that's going to save them, though. Does buy them some time. Span attacks. If we draw a swamp, we have lethal. Never mind. We have another blocker. So we can flunk Galazeth. They have Frostbite. Let's get rid of one of their birds. So they're forced to jump with the last one and Frostbite the Avenger. I guess they don't have to Frostbite the Avenger, they could go to 1. Doesn't seem likely though. I don't think a 7/7's any better than a 6/6, so I'll let them Frostbite the Avenger with the counter. Of course, if it's not Frostbite and they're bluffing here, we get 1 more damage in. Okay, go to 1, sure. They need Epiphany into something to get us from here. All of the Storm Giants can get us to 1. Okay, they actually don't need Epiphany into something with all the Storm Giants, they just need Epiphany. And actually, Hall of the Storm Giants is a very good reason that a 7/7 is better than a 6/6 here. So now I'm forced to Bloodchief's Thirst that. And then we still die because they have another one. That was a misplay. No, we don't have to kick it. It doesn't have CMC. Actually, I should have killed the gold span. Because then we wouldn't be dead next turn. But we don't really have... Yeah, I should have killed the gold span, and then we have attacking with a lair for lethal. That forces them to use their haul defensively. Oh, and they didn't power up their haul. That's noops on their part as well. Let's see. We need blockers here, right? We can't power this up as a 5/5. And it becomes a 6/6, and it still dies to their giant. So we need to hit this and find 2 blockers. One of which has to be a Despair Sentinel. And we don't. Several misplays there. Happens. We'll find land, right? Alright, we'll just have 3 Elvish War Masters. Guess there's worse things. And our opponent does nothing turn 2, that's very unusual for the mono-white deck. What do they even take here? They take one of the War Masters? The Rangers class? The Sentinel? Probably not a Soul Shatter. They're trying to hold me off the mana. Doesn't look like it's gonna work though. Get a bunch more bodies and hold back. Another Spellbinder. Here they might take the War Master. Nope, Soul Shatter. Okay, that means the Sentinel can't trade with that Spellbinder. We find the land, so we're not going for the Sentinel anyway. We could play both parts of Ranger class, but let's keep playing our Elves while we have the War Masters. Get as many tokens out of them as possible. And they know what's in our hand, so we can just go for this. I guess now I'm fine trading War Master for both Clerics or a Spellbinder. Yeah. Okay, Redain means Herald's not a good draw anymore. But otherwise we're doing okay. And it means they have a lot of flying damage. If they can remove our reach blocker, we're probably dead. Unless we can pathway. No, we need more mana than that. Alright, so we can... No, we have to play the reach blocker or we're just dead on board. or Soul Shatter, either way. But the Sentinel makes 3 more 1/1s, so I think that's the play. But now he can't attack because Redain is a 2/3. That's an issue. And then we're probably just dead. So I think we have to go all in and look for lethal here. Because if this goes for one more turn, we're not winning. They might be worried about Snakeskin Veil or something. Nope, just considering their other blocks. Alright, down to 7. We have Faceless Haven. If they don't kill us here and attack all in, we should be able to get them. See, is that lethal? No, not quite. They get us to 1 if we block the bigger Spellbinder. If they activate the Paladin class here. Yep. That's the play that keeps us alive. And they are dead on the backswing. Very nice. Somehow my life total gets to -6 there. Very nice glitches, Arena. Love to see it.